Good evening, everybody. So this is our all candidates meeting. Thank you for everybody who came. I got some notes from some students who have classes tonight and were not able to make it. That is okay, as long as those people watch back the recording and are able to complete the quiz that we'll send along afterwards. Everybody will be in good standing to start their campaign. So I'm going to start off introducing myself. My name is Mike Smeta. I am the governance manager at WUSA, and I also wear the hat of being CRO for elections. I'm really excited for this round of elections, and the other officer, the elections officer that you'll work closely with is Onella, so I'll let Onella do her introduction.
Hi everyone, my name is Onella. I am the Elections and Referenda Officer this year, and I'm really excited to be in the back end of elections and help you out all with your campaign. So feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions now or during the campaign period, but looking forward to it.
Awesome. For all the candidates on the call, I won't make it necessary that you turn on your camera as long as you do sort of introduce yourself. And I'll let Mohammed go first as his camera is on.
Thanks, Mike. My name is Mohammed Kanji. I'm in the engineering program, chemical engineering specifically. I'm going into my third year now. Well, actually, I'm in my third year. For context, I assume I'm allowed to say this. I'm a current incumbent director, elected last year. And this year, I'm running for director again. I'm running for re-election, and I'm also running for engineering senator 2-year role.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, introduction. Mohammed did great. If you can just say what positions you're running for. I see Madeleine has popped camera on, so I'll let you go next.
Hello, I hope everyone can hear me okay. My name is Madeline Weiss, and I'm also in the engineering program, I guess, but I'm specifically electrical engineering, and I'm running for the 2-year undergrad engineering Senate position.
Awesome. I'm going in no such order. Go ahead, Samir.
Hi, I'm Samir. I'm going into I'm in my 2B in math, and I'm going for Prez.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Hi, my name is Muddy. I'm in my 1B semester in sciences, and I'm applying for director.
Great. I'll let Raj introduce herself next.
So sorry, me, like non-candidate Raj?
Yeah. Go ahead, Raj.
Hi, my name is Raj Dassange, and I am the governance assistant for the next 8 months. So I've been with WUSA for about a year, but whether you're in for the next board or in it currently, I'm just here to help around and work under Mike.
One thing I'll shout out for Raj. If I'm not in the WUSA office and you want to come directly to me for some sort of question or complaint, Raj might be sitting up where the governance team sort of sits. She will be able to get in touch with me on Teams, so feel free to seek her out if you need, and we'll make sure that you're connected to me and or Onella at that point too. I'll let Tanya go next. Maybe Tanya. I think it's Tanya. I think you might be muted still or not available, which is okay. I'll do a quick introduction for Tanya. So Tanya works in the Secretariat and is here to make sure that the Senate candidates have a resource in case they need to have any questions that arise about the role that they'll be sort of seeking out. So I'll let Andrew go next.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew. I'm in 3A in accounting and financial management, and I'm rerunning for Art Senator.
I'm gonna. I know that you go by Maj, Majdalen. If you wanted to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'll go next. Hi, guys. My name is Majdalen, but you can call me Maj. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm in my last term of public health sciences, and I'm running for vice president of student experience.
Great. Mujtaba.
Hey everyone, my name is Mujtaba. I go by Muj. I'm in my 4B term of health sciences running for director.
Thank you. I'll let Nix go next.
Hi, my name is Nix. I use they, them pronouns. I'm in my 3A term of honors biology, and I'm running for vice president of student experience.
Great. I'll let Jacob Lewis go next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Lewis. I'm in my 3B term of mechatronics engineering, and I'm running for director.
Thank you. I'll let Rory go next.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good night. My name is Rory Norris. I'm in my 4B term of Biotech CPA, and I'm running for VP GSR.
I'll let Alex go next.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I'm in my 3B term of pure mathematics, and I'm a math senator candidate. Thank you.
Misha, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Misha. I'm in 4A biology. I'm currently an at-large senator, and I'm running for science senator.
Sharia.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sharia. I am running for science senator. I'm in my 1B term of biotech CPA.
Thank you. I need to go to page 2. Oh my God, there's so many people here. Okay, Iman, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name's Iman. I'm in my 4th year of poli-sci, and I'm running for director.
Go ahead, Vertige.
Hey everyone, I'm Virtej. I go by Veer. I'm in my 3A statistics term, and I'm going for director. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mark.
Hi everybody, I'm Mark. I'm in my 2B term of aviation. I'm transitioning from geography and aviation to science and aviation, and I'm running for director.
Great. Catherine Wang, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, and I'm currently in my 2nd year of environment and business, and I'm currently running for environment senator and director.
Great. Remington, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Remington, they, them. I am a 4th-ish year math student, and I'm running for director.
Great. Ari, I'll let you go next.
Awesome. So many familiar faces. Hi, everybody. My name is Arya. I am a communication and legal studies student. Not retiring yet, so running for board for 1 more year.
Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm Patrick. I'm in my 4A term of pure math and computer science, and I'm running for director.
Great. Noor, go ahead. I can't quite hear. That might be me.
Oh, sorry. Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, awesome. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. Hi. So my name is Kohinoor Bludin. I go by Noor. I am in nanotechnology engineering, heading into my 4A term, and I'm running for director.
Great. Awesome. Steven, go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm Steven. I'm in my 3A term of mechanical engineering, and I am currently running for the engineering senator position.
Great. Kenzie, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Kinsey. I'm in my 3B term right now of the CS BBA double degree, and I'm currently running for the at-large senator seat.
Thank you. Omar, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me? Hi everyone, I'm Omar. I just finished 2A physics and I'm on co-op right now, and I am running for director.
You're in a very noisy room, but that's okay. Jordan, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jordan Bauman. I'm a BSc psychology student, and I'm the incumbent running for science faculty senator.
Awesome. Aaron, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm in the 4th year of business econ and computing, and I'm running for that.
Awesome. Yi, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Yi. I am in economics 2B, and I'm running for an arts senator.
Great. I'm checking over my list to see if I missed anybody. If I did miss you, put your hand up. I think that'll be the easiest way to get my attention. I think I'm clicking through. I don't see anybody. Thank you for the most lopsided podcast I have ever been involved in. That was very fun. I got to talk a lot, but very boring. We're going to talk at you a little bit more, but we welcome questions throughout the whole presentation. And I just want to let you know that I thank you for coming, and I'm excited to kick off this election cycle with everybody. I'm going to press some buttons and then share my screen. All right. So welcome to the All Candidates meeting. Congratulations on meeting the nomination threshold. And welcome to the WUSA General Elections 2026-2027. So here are some important contacts. We will send these slides out afterwards too, so everybody has all this content and the links throughout. So you have Onella, who's the Elections and Referenda Officer, me, myself, Governance Manager and CRO. Esther is my manager, so she's the Corporate Secretary and in-house legal counsel. In case you need to complain about me to somebody, please go to her. And then other important people sort of within the chain of elections and campus life. So Suzanne Burdett is the Executive Director of WUSA. For those running for board, the fun fact that every board learns in their first training session is one staff member of WUSA reports to board, and that is the Executive Director, and then all other staff report to Suzanne. Then we have Melissa Thomas, who is the Director of Communications and Stakeholder Relations, and the advocacy team sort of falls under her, so you'll work with Melissa on the communications bits, and she has some staff there, but more likely our advocacy director in whatever role that you are seeking. And her name is Jill, which I've not included her info on this, but once you get into the role, you'll get introduced to more people too. And then Brian Schwan is our Director of Student Engagement. So he oversees the clubs, events, student-run services, and interfacing with some of the societies. So after this slide, Onella and I are going to flip back and forth, but just want to introduce you. So what we'll be going over tonight, the board positions and elections. We'll do a quick clip on UW Senate and what that role involves. We'll talk about the electoral process, campaign rules and regulations, some poster rules, allegations and appeals process, penalties and budget allocations, and the responsibilities of all the candidates to make sure that your budgets are in order and saving all your receipts for reimbursement afterwards. So I'll let Onella take the next slide.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. So for the board of directors in WUSA's governance model, the board of directors are our primary decision-making body, and the board consists of 10 directors and now 3 full-time 3 full-time officer positions: president, vice president, government stakeholder relations, or VPGSR, and vice president, student experience, or VPSE. And all 13 of the positions are up for election this winter for a 12-month term of office. I'll pass it back over to Mike.
Thank you. The president is the main spokesperson of WUSA and leads university-facing advocacy. He is the chair of the board, the chief governing officer. President also sits on Senate and Board of Governors at the university, so is the highest representative of all undergraduate students on campus. The president also sort of spearheads the board's strategic planning and makes sure that there is a lead in the annual plan for the year. And the president is a full-time position for 12 months. Sorry, I did not change this date. So May 2026 to April 2027. I have a question from Jordan.
Yes. Am I correct in saying that you actually need to be elected as the president to the Board of Governors? There was a case recently where that did not occur.
Yes, there was an exceptional case last year with the president, but I would agree with you that there is that extra step of needing to be elected to the Board of Governors. Thank you for that, actually.
Now on to Vice President, Government and Stakeholder Relations. They are the secondary spokesperson for WUSA, and they lead the government-facing advocacy. Oh, sorry. Oh, perfect. And they are also the vice chair of the board and assist in strategic planning and help with the direction of it as well. They are also a full-time position for 12 months from May 2026 to April 2027.
Lastly, the newer role is the third officer, so the vice president student experience. They are also sort of a secondary spokesperson for WUSA. They lead advocacy on campus on the campus life side for the non-academic student experience. So the way we've tried to explain the roles is the president might interface with the VPAs of all the societies on the academic policy issues that are coming up that students are seeing. But any sort of student life issue would probably be the purview of the VP student experience. And it could be things that students are seeing with UW housing, food services, athletics, etc. So still the on-campus bits because the VP government stakeholder relations does the off-campus external bits. And again, this is a full-time position as well for 12 months from May 2026 to April 2027.
Now on to our board of directors. So our directors are members of WUSA's board, and they collectively set strategic direction for WUSA and ensure that the organization has the resources that it needs. They also participate in the strategic direction setting for organizational advocacy initiatives, as well as take part in various advisory committee meetings and sit on joint university committees. They also participate in meetings with university and external stakeholders to further initiate or on further initiatives regarding important student issues. And it's also a 12-month position from May 2026 to April 2027 with an estimation of about 5 to 10 hours of work per week.
Before I move on to the Senate slide, so another big important piece of board obviously is that strategic direction, but sort of the organization and resourcing. Board also handles risk management and important sort of events that might pop up and how to handle them. So different crises that are happening within the student community and how WUSA should respond to those. So all of that is channeled through the president, who is the chief spokesperson, but the president usually does not act alone, and it is reliant on the board to get that collaboration going so that the president is speaking in the one voice of board. Senate elections. So Senate, as a collective body, the UW Senate has the power to establish educational policies of the university. Senate also makes recommendations to the Board of Governors on matters relative to the operations of the university, such as long-range academic planning, admission standards, and exam conduct. The single transferable vote applies to at-large Senate elections, while instant runoff voting applies to faculty Senate elections. So Senate elections in other types of Senate reps happen differently, but the undergraduates sort of fold into WUSA's elections and referenda procedures.
Now, in terms of oversight bodies, there are three main ones. There's the Election Referenda Committee, ERC, the Chief Returning Officer, in this case, Mike, and the Elections and Referenda Officer, aka me. So we're here to help ensure that everything is running smooth and according to plan.
Sorry. I'll see if it's later in the slides, but I'll talk about like allegations and appeals later on and how each of these officers sort of play a role in those. So we have electoral dates. So this electoral event, the WUSA election of 2026, the all candidates meeting is obviously tonight. The campaign period is January 25th, so starting on Sunday, until February 2nd. And the voting period is the 3rd to the 5th. We split those up for sake of consistent, mutually exclusive timelines, but campaigning is still allowed during the voting period. The caveat to that is you may not provide a mechanism of voting to eligible voters, and you should make every effort not to be present while an elector is voting. So if you see somebody is voting, don't jump in their face and say, hey, can you vote for me? Do your best to campaign broadly about why students should vote for you, but make sure you're not like in their face and being harassing with your behavior there. Go ahead, Kinsey.
So sorry for the interruption. Can I just ask what we mean exactly by provide mechanism of voting?
Yes. So it would probably be like, I think directing somebody to the voting platform is fine. Maybe stop at the line of like providing your device to them, just because they'll need to log in themselves. And by giving them your device, you're sort of necessarily beside them while they're voting. So probably like direct them to the site, that's fine. Once they're in the process of voting, with their own devices, try to like step aside and not be present for that. Go ahead, Mush.
So just to clarify, let's say we have a QR code that's linked to the voting platform. Is that acceptable?
In my opinion, yes, that is acceptable because QR code is just doing the duty of the link, and it's easier for somebody to get to the voting platform.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and if everybody wants to like put a QR code on their posters, it would just go to the voting platform where all the candidate profiles are anyway. So it would just give them an extra ability to see all the candidates up for election. Go ahead, Anela.
I also just wanted to quickly add, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the for the clarification of like during like the nomination period, for example, if you had like a physical package, you would go and ask students to like directly sign your package. Think of it on the offside of like if you brought your phone and we're like, oh, here's the website, vote for me. Like we can't do that, but like we can definitely like lead them like, oh, you should go and vote for a candidate on the vote.wusa.ca website. But yeah, just not give them the direct like influence of you should vote for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. We're going to move into some of the campaign events that'll be happening. So the big in-person event that's happening is talk about your candidates. Onella, do you want to take this? Okay.
Yeah, so this so we obviously included the link that will be passed around later that has more information on the page, but this is a candidate meet and greet event where expected attendance is over 500 undergrads. Also, please confirm with Mike whether you will be attending the event. It's not mandatory, but it's a really great way for students to have a space to talk to you about your platform and like what you're running on. And once there, the events team will provide you with name tags to write your name and role on. And you can mix and mingle with undergrads talking about like who you are and explain your platform and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that for officer candidates, you'll have like a captain's hat, I believe, right, Mike? I'm pretty sure.
Might be all the board candidates. So
lovely.
there is some differentiation here, board candidates versus Senate candidates, just because we did not know how many Senate candidates we were and we were limited on budget. So please feel free to bring your own name tags, because I think we only set aside about the 30 or so that board candidates that we were expecting. But feel free to bring your own name tags and materials and still like talk about yourself. You are invited. This is the caveat of you may not have all the same resources as the board candidates, as we just want to differentiate the bodies a little bit.
For sure.
Voting mechanism. So the alternative vote will be used for the officer positions on board. It allows you to rank candidates in order of your preference and is designed to elect one candidate. Under the system, a candidate secures a majority of the first preference votes and is elected. If no candidate can amass the support of the majority, candidate with the least first preference support is eliminated, and their votes are redistributed to whoever that voter chose as their second. This process is repeated until the candidate can amass the majority of the votes. As for the voting mechanism of the board seats, because there are 10 seats to fill, we have a bit of a modified single transferable vote system. So everybody can still rank candidates in order of preference. And then the single transferable vote will be used for the director positions. Sorry, I'm just checking this. Oh, sorry. I meant to change this slide. There are only 10 director positions. So the quota for STV is that there is a calculation done based on the number of positions available and the number of votes cast, and there is a threshold determined. It is not a 50% threshold because it is very unlikely that one person in the 15 or 16 candidates that we have is going to get 50%, but it is a significant threshold. And then anybody who crosses that threshold would be elected. Now, the modified version of this that we have is the faculty guarantee. So we make sure in our elections that one candidate from each faculty, provided that they run, is able to have a seat on the board of directors. So we make sure that that constituency, faculty, has the ability to send their representative. So let's say the math faculty has like 2 people running in the board of directors elections, and they are not within the 10 top vote getters of the final like tallies of the votes. What would happen is the system sort of catches that math student who got the top votes and sort of not appoints them, but like declares them elected, because they, according to the mechanism, need to be part of the elected 10 board of directors. Are there any questions on this? It is somewhat complicated, but I'm happy to talk about it more if there are. Seeing none, I'll let Onella do the next slide.
Okay, so now on to what is a campaign. So a campaign is a series of actions done by or on behalf of a candidate to gain support for the vote. So you can only campaign during the campaign and voting period, and the distributing and or posting of materials like physical materials such as posters, signs, and banners are permitted at the discretion of UW plant operations, but they must have a vote.wusa.ca logo, which should have been sent to you by me through your confirmation of candidacy email. Speeches, rallies, and public forums designed to and or likely to influence voters towards a particular candidate also include in what is a campaign. Campaign members, non-arm's length parties, which is what they're referred to in the ERP, are not permitted to use their positions to gain advantages in the elections. So making sure that you're referring to the ERP and making sure that all of your procedures are up to code. But yeah.
We have some wonderful advice from our WUSA marketing team on how to build a campaign. So identify your audience. Each position, board and Senate, has a slightly different audience. Obviously, if you're a Senate candidate for environment, it is not going to be very fruitful for you to be campaigning to health students as they are not able to vote for you. That is the very obvious example, but there are more niche pieces of sort of voting tactics that you can learn and understand if you would like to. Identify the priorities of your audience and build your platform around that. Some of the pieces, if you wanted to go to WUSA.ca under our advocacy department, we have the 6 current advocacy priorities that we have position statements for. Those are the top 6 priorities identified by students according to like the various rounds of research we do on thousands of students a year. So you can take those as inspiration and see what our advocacy priorities are based off of the last annual plan, as they'll be pretty aligned to that this year. And that will sort of inspire what pieces you think you want to talk about working on once you're in the role. So create campaign materials that communicate your platform clearly, and you have a cap budget, so be careful about that. Talk to students, distribute your materials, and politely remind people to vote. And you can also create acceptable posters and use social media. You can also build your own website. That can be part of your budgeted materials. And make sure you're avoiding sort of disparaging remarks about the people you're running against. Make sure we're like running a constructive election. And I guess the line of appropriateness is like you're allowed to critique your ideas of somebody you're voting against as long as you don't attack their character. And there are some links that we will sort of send around in the materials, and you'll be able to access them. How to win campaign resources, I will flash up on the screen really quick. So it's a simple Sway page. It's just different pieces, like a little summary, but with a bit more depth of how to design a campaign, how postering is going to work. We've gotten the question of, are posters only allowed on sanctioned bulletin boards? The interesting thing is you can actually put posters anywhere. We get extra accommodations from plant ops as long as the WUSA elections logo is on your posters. Be careful when putting them on poster boards, because those poster boards could be owned by some authority on campus who you would need to go to first if you want to use their space. But other than that, you're allowed to put them on walls. Try to make sure you're using tape. Not try to make sure. Please use tape that will not have like damaging adhesive effects. So we typically recommend painter's tape or masking tape. Staples if you are using a bulletin board for official purposes. WUSA elections logo. Remove all your promotional materials after voting closes during the results day. So that would be Friday of the voting week. And then the vote logo is here, the one that Anela circulated in your email. One extra little bit, the poster rules in the SLC are a little bit more strict, such that you should not put posters on painted surfaces, wood, or glass. Try to avoid glass anywhere, because sometimes line of sight is very important for accessibility needs. But obviously, like putting a poster on glass, it's harder to clean if the tape does not come off well, even if it is painter's tape. There's some guidance in here about poster printing and how WPrint is a resource you could use if you so want. And then different campaign info. Having trouble showing this image. Okay, we'll make sure that's fixed. And make sure your brand is like perceiving your personality and you're true to that brand. And then some recommendations on building your website, knowing your audience, communication tips, and then some more campaign advice here. So I will flip back to our slideshow and let Anela take the advice on the next slide.
I think there might be a question. Mark?
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, if you guys go back to the website there, I think it says campaigning is permitted until the last day of voting. I assume that's outdated, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, you can vote during the campaign period. Sorry, you can campaign during the vote period.
Sorry, I thought like maybe I'm mistaken then. I thought earlier we said that like campaigning is up until the 2nd of February, and then from that point on we cannot campaign through the 3rd to the 5th.
The defined campaign period of like heavy campaigning is until the 2nd, but you can still campaign during the vote period. But the vote period by the procedures is like a very strictly defined set of its own thing. So we in that list we did not have them overlap, but you'll see some places that they do overlap, that the campaign period will go until the 5th.
So if I wanted to speak to students during the voting period and like tell them about my ideas and such, that's permissible as long as it's not like a heavy amount of campaigning and going above and beyond per se.
Yeah, like I think like the line is like sort of like harassing people at any point of the campaign is bad. But like being in their face while they're casting a vote is sort of the line of appropriateness. Or like we said earlier, like providing a device by which they can vote. And I'd say like the QR code or the link is fine, circulating that around. If somebody like built a script that like somebody scanned a QR code and they auto voted for you, I think that would be inappropriate. I don't think that's possible due to like the security of the voting platform. Oh no, now I've given everybody an idea. Don't do that. Just lead people to vote.wusa.ca. I'll let Anela take over again.
Thanks.
Awesome. Now on to candidate headshots, which is a little bit more fun. WUSA Marketing has set up time for you to come in and get a professional headshot done. Please take 5 minutes at the end of our presentation when it's inevitably circulated to you to request a time slot by using the Excel sheet that we'll include to note your preferences. And please note that you must complete this by 11:59 on January 25th, and you will receive an email confirming your time slot. All candidates are required to have their headshot taken by our photo team to ensure consistency and quality when using it for and sharing it for various initiatives, either social media or otherwise. And the photos will be used for your candidate profile on vote.wusa.ca and at yourWUSA socials, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. But yeah. Samir, I think you're first up.
Yeah, in every previous year, the headshots weren't mandatory and we could upload our own photos or candidate profiles and socials. Why is it mandatory this year?
Good question. I'm not going to make it mandatory. I think that's their preference. But like I'm not going to say that every person's going to be like feasibly available Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. So I'll like pull a mulligan on the mandatoriness. I think they're hoping to ensure consistency and quality, but I don't think there's a feasible way they're going to get everybody to sign up. And we can also like people can scan this right now and take a slot. We'll take a little bit of a break, but I'll let Jordan ask the question next.
Yeah, just to follow up to that, can we use our own photos on promotional materials?
Yes, 100%. Let's see. There's more on this topic later on. In case it doesn't say in this presentation, the candidate profiles online, sort of that exist beside the ballot that have all your information. I did see somebody uploaded one already today, which is awesome. you can start uploading those before the campaign period. They will not appear until the campaign period starts. The big caveat is that the system works at such when you update it. So let's say like you put some content up there now and you want to change it later on in the campaign period. As soon as you change it, Onella and I both get a ping to our email to review and approve to be posted. One set of candidates did this at like 10 p.m. the night before voting opened. And then they panicked because when you update it, what was on there disappears until the new content is approved. So make sure you're doing it as soon as possible and nice and early with any amendments that you wanted to make with that content so that it will always stay. If you want to make an update, please do it sort of during work hours. I do check emails after work hours, but it's just easier if I see it pop up and approve it then. Go ahead, Kinsey.
Yeah, sorry, just on the note of the headshots, if we do choose to upload one we've already had taken, should we be uploading that to the drive that's linked within the spreadsheet? Should we be sending that to someone? I guess what's the process to do that?
Good question. So the drive that's in the spreadsheet will help them, will help the marketing and comms teams put together articles if they are planning to do that throughout this. They have their own sort of general promotions for all the elections. Sorry, not all the elections. They will make sure that like all candidates are publicized in some way. And if you haven't uploaded your headshot to your candidate profile on the voting platform, I think there's a way that they can do it for you. But I would recommend do them both just to be safe. And it can be different pictures if you so wish as well. Give them a couple of pictures to choose from in case their like lighting and consistency style is going to be one certain way. What does our guidance say? Does it say keep your file titles your name or something? Doesn't really say. But make it nice and easy for them is what I'll say. We'll go to the next slide if people want to take a last picture of that QR code. There is more photos and campaign materials bullet points on the next slide. So this is that Media Hub link that you'll see in that spreadsheet that the QR code opened. You'll not be notified when it is uploaded. If you'd like to use it for campaigning materials, please check within 24 hours of your photos being taken, and it will be edited and uploaded for you. Okay, so I guess this is once they take your headshot, it will be uploaded here. You're not required to use the photo for your campaign materials, but they have it as a resource for you. If you cannot attend any of the provided time slots, please reach out to Miho, and her email is there. She is our creative director of our marketing team, and she will try her best to get somebody to help you out before Sunday. Note your name at the bottom of the sign-up sheet. If you would like to use an existing photo from a previous year that was taken by WUSA staff. So this is for returning candidates or incumbents, probably that we might have something on file for you. I'll let Onella take posters again.
Awesome. Now on to some poster guidelines. Do your best to not hang things up on walls or surfaces with harmful materials, as we mentioned earlier. Try your best to use masking tape, painter's tape, staples, depending on the surface. Make sure that the WUSA elections logo is visible on your posters. Obviously, we've said that it should be there, but making sure that it's visible is very, very important. Posters can be put up on brick or concrete walls. Posters are not permitted on glass doors, painted, or wooden surfaces. Posters should only be attached with masking tape and not packing tape, like I mentioned earlier. They should also not be placed in hard-to-remove places, because keep in mind that you are responsible for taking them down. And the more out of reach you put something, the more out of reach it is to get back. And also, which ties into the last point, remove your posters within 48 hours after the election is the policy, and which is linked to policy 2 below. But yeah. Jacob.
So I believe earlier in the presentation, one of the presenters said that there's some special deal with plant ops and we can put the posters wherever we want, but here it says that we can't put them on painted surfaces. And I also believe earlier in the presentation, we were told that we would have to remove the posters on the Friday after voting.
Sorry. Remove within 48 hours after the election. We usually hope that they're down that first day, just because people are going into the weekend. But if you need to take Saturday as well, that is okay. Thank you for that clarification. The procedure is officially 48 hours, so this slide is the most correct info there. Glass doors painted or wooden surfaces, that is a rule, I will tell you, that applies definitely to the SLC. Other buildings are a little bit more okay. If you're not sure, stick to brick and concrete walls, as that is probably the best and safest option. Go ahead, Jacob.
Do you think we could maybe have a bit of clarification on that, on the hanging posters rule?
Yes. The most I am aware of is glass doors, printed or painted wooden surfaces is the SLC rule. So I think it was put on this slide because if you obey that rule all over campus, you are safe. The other SLC rule is, if you're aware of it, the 2 sliding doors for the multipurpose room, don't put posters in the middle of those 2 sliding doors on that brick surface because it jams those 2 sliding doors. The one other caveat that I'll put here is, unless it is an egregious violation, nobody gets demerit points for minor poster violations. Your posters may be taken down. We'll do our best to return them to you. If they are taken down and brought back to the elections team, we'll reach out and say, here's your posters back. They were in a space that got removed. You're able to put them up in a different space. But to be extra safe, yes, stick to the brick and concrete walls. I'll let you ask a follow-up again.
Oh, I meant to put my hand down. Thank you.
Okay. Mohammed, go ahead.
I was just going to chime in with some information we were told last year that I thought might be useful. When in doubt, you could also email plan ops. I did that a couple times, and they provided responses on what was allowed and what wasn't for certain buildings. From what I recall, even some buildings had certain rules, and they were different. So that's always a good alternative.
I also
Thank
just
you.
wanted to point out that for posters, oh, the thought completely left my brain. Sorry, never mind. Sorry.
Was it the elections logo?
No, it wasn't.
Raj, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry, I don't know if this is a stupid question, but maybe someone else had it too. Specifically in SLC, is there also a distinction with PAC? Like, can people put them up in the gym, or then again, does it become a specific? Again, it pertains to every different building.
Yeah, it's probably every different building. I'd say like closed spaces like the gym, even though the gym is like used by everybody, is probably not as like public as like a hallway. I'd say like hallways are fair game. Pillars in big open atrium spaces are fair game. If you have friends in housing and they are dons and they're willing to put posters up for you, that is a tool that some may use. But you yourself putting them up on a floor might be frowned upon. So it all sort of depends on your network and what rules the people in your network have access to.
I also just remembered what I wanted to say. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but when it comes to like poster violations, like typically they're not immediately like ripped down or like taken down. Like the procedure is that like a picture would be taken and then like an official like complaint or something would be filed, and then we'll like look it over and see. So like if you put a poster up somewhere, like it's not just going to immediately be taken down if like you by accidentally put it up in the wrong spot. And like Mike also said earlier, like it's not very often that you're going to get unless it's an egregious offense, like you're not going to get super deducted in terms of penalties to your campaign.
Um, yes, big lesson learned from past elections. It is not your responsibility to rip down somebody else's poster. If you can, please take a picture and send it to ERO and or CRO. We can then judge if it is an inappropriate place for a poster to be. We will thank you for reporting it. It doesn't usually rise to the level of an allegation, just because it's a more innocent violation than some of the more like reproachable activities that we've seen in past elections. But I'd say like the liability is on the candidates themselves to make sure that their posters aren't taken down by Plant Ops or WUSA. Sort of like the two authorities that might take them down. Go ahead, Becky.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I had another meeting. I apologize. But just like if this question wasn't asked or wasn't said before, is there a specific size that there's like a maximum or minimum size for the posters? Like I can't have just like a printed picture of me, right? Like a life-size version of me on a wall or anything like that, right?
Becky, I'm gonna pause us and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself because you weren't here when we did introductions at the beginning.
Oh yeah. I'm so sorry. Sorry guys, I
No,
had another
no.
meeting.
That's okay. I'm just calling you out now
Wait,
so
let me turn
that
on my camera.
I have it for my records.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Becky. I am in my 1B in Arbis and I'm running for Senate, undergrad student at large. I'm not sure if my director nominations went through. I think I emailed Mike about that, but if it didn't, that's the only position I'm running for. And it's so great to meet everyone. And if you see me, say hi. That's mostly it.
I think they did go through, but I will confirm with you after our chat. Yes, is it a quick pause? Anybody else joined after the beginning that didn't get to introduce himself? Put your hand up now so we know. Seeing none. Becky, your question was awesome because we go into the poster template slide. Marketing can assist with printing up to 33 tabloid posters, 11 by 17. You're not bound to that number. That's just sort of their standard help. There is a Canva template set of templates linked here where there are like your name should go here, your like call to action should go here, put the WUSA logo here. Maybe the WUSA logo is already loaded in. I haven't taken a look at them. And then like your main headshot can go in the background or something. There is no limit to size. Sometimes people play a fun little game of costs and they find that like 8.5 by 5.5, like little flyer sized, are actually so much cheaper to print. So you can print 3 times the number of those for much cheaper than even one letter size poster. So feel free to do your own with that. I think like a cutout of yourself is appropriate, like is fine with me. It seems like a spirited attempt for campaigning. I think the only thing I'd say is like don't put it in hard to reach place, because I think that's one of the other like posting rules that try to avoid breaking. I'll tell you a fun story, and this is going to date me because 2015 was the election that this happened in, and they duct taped one of their candidates to one of the pillars in the SLC, and I think they got an allegation against them for using duct tape. So that's really funny because somebody used the poster rules to go against this campaign stunt. And I guess I'll put here, do not duct tape anybody to any surface in the SLC or any building on campus. Go ahead, Mohammed.
By any chance, which faculty was the individual belonging to? Do you know?
They were health.
Okay.
Might have been a kin student. Yeah. Raj, go ahead.
Sorry, again, I don't know if this is a foolish question. Can a candidate themselves kind of host events of like a come and see me and come ask questions? Is that allowed?
Yes. The only caveat that I'll say for that is make sure you book the event properly through proper channels. Don't use any extra access or power you have that no other candidate would have. So we've had candidates go through the proper process of booking out poets and saying like, hey, like come chill with me for 2 hours in poets. And as long as you've gone through the proper channels to book that space, you are able to do that. Go ahead, Madeline.
Hi. So just on the slide you're on currently, it says that poster designs need to be submitted. Is that just like general posters, like anything you want to put up should be vetted, or?
Sorry. I would advise designs. So that is just if you want them to be printed as part of this deal with the marketing team, up to 33 tabloid posters. One sort of aside that I'll say here, we're trying to make campaigning a bit more accessible for people. So in case people themselves are remote and off campus, and like it's hard to connect the resources to get everything together. Sort of that's why these templates exist and this service of printing at least 33 tabloids exist. And then if you can get a friend, if you are remote, you can get a friend to pick them up and put them up for you. That is another sort of recommendation I'd make.
Okay,
Go
awesome.
ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. We're moving on to the allegations, so I'll let Onella take this on.
Awesome. Okay, so for allegations, individuals submit the allegation form to the ERO in the right format, and then that's me, and then I will immediately notify the respondent of the allegation, and they must prepare counter evidence and or a defense, and that's within 48 hours of being notified. And then my ruling as the ERO must come or like I must come to a ruling within 72 hours. All allegations also must be kept strictly confidential by all involved parties until a decision has been rendered. ERO then notifies the complainant and respondent within 2 hours of the decision being made, and then the ERO finally will inform the public of their decision after informing the complainant and the respondent within 4 business hours.
The way the public bit happens at the end is we will have like a allegations and appeals section on the voting, the WUSA elections page, and we'll just sort of have quick summaries of the cases that have come up as allegations and what their process levels are. So this is a little bit of a compressed picture, but this, if you go to the WUSA elections page, along the sort of right side, you'll see like special links for contacting the ERO, CRO, the elections and referenda procedures link, and then the violation complaint form. So filling this out when you would like to file an allegation against somebody is your first step to having that allegation sort of a decision rendered. The one thing we've also brought in this year, if you're not sure if something rises to the level of an allegation, feel free to reach out directly to Onella or myself first and say like, hey, I need an interpretation on this. Is this part of the rules? Is this like interpretation of the rules and the way this candidate is playing with the rules appropriate? It's at that point we will determine if it's an okay interpretation of the rules. And we will communicate that to all candidates through email. So we'll have like a bit of an announcement, which is more a directive. And we'll talk about the directive that I sent earlier on today towards the end. But that might not rise to the level of an allegation if you just want to check the rules. So that is fine at any point. We heard from candidates of the past that like if you asked for a rules check in the past, it immediately became an allegation and your sort of information that you submitted against somebody ended up on the elections page. And we just sort of wanted to make an easier process that was less, I'd say, like abrasive or combative, for simple sort of like interpretation checks on the procedures. Anela, do you want to take this?
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. So for appeals, the alleged and alleger may appeal to the decision to the CRO by submitting the appeal form within 24 hours of the decision being issued. To issue an appeal, the appellant must include reasoning for the disagreement with the ERO's decision, and if applicable, the appellant may wish to cite the procedural error, provide new evidence, and or establish a suspicion of bias, etc. And also within 24 hours of receiving the appeal, the CRO or ERC can uphold the original decision, alter the penalty of the original decision, refer the ERO or CRO to review the decision considering the new information that has been brought to light, as well as overturn the decision and present a new ruling, depending on what they see fit. But yeah, that's how appeals would work.
And here's the appeals form. It's a little simpler. The one like important piece that I'll add about appeals, you shouldn't be adding new information. If there is like new information of like this candidate is harassing people, it happened on Tuesday, and then you hear from somebody else that they harassed somebody on Thursday, don't submit that as an appeal. Submit that as a separate allegation. And we will judge every like instance of sort of like an inappropriate violation on its own. If the candidate appeals and like lies about what happened and you have extra proof to add about the situation that you are alleging that they did sort of some inappropriate behavior, that is what you might include in an appeal. So like he's saying he wasn't in this building. I have a picture of him actually doing this. Usually that stuff is fleshed out in the allegation itself, but in case there's some other evidence you come into contact with about that specific situation later on, that is sort of what you might include in your response. Moving on to penalties. The ERC and its agents can assign demerit points in the event of a successful allegation. Candidates and teams have a max of 10 demerit points and are disqualified at 11. If disqualified candidates, you voided your candidacy, you cannot continue campaigning, and you will not be reimbursed for campaign expenses. I'll also say there is a table in the elections procedures. Depending on how many demerit points you get, there's a certain threshold that starts taking off a certain percentage of your available reimbursement for your budget allocation. So be careful of that. And I'll move on and let Onella take on campaign expenses.
Now for your campaign expenses, do your best to submit budget of all campaign expenses with accompanying receipts to me, the ERO, no later than the end of one business day after the voting period ends, preferably. Candidates, teams, and committees that have not incurred any expense must indicate that to the ERO. So even if you haven't used any of your expenses, please let us know that. Gifts, donations, and discounted campaign items will be assessed at fair market value and will count toward the spending limit. Only the net cost incurred to acquire a product or service will be reimbursed. And candidates, teams, and committees with more than 3 demerit points will have their reimbursement reduced based on the total number of demerit points assigned to them. Jacob?
Go ahead, Jacob.
So I have 2 questions regarding expenses. Firstly, I'm wondering if we already own something, say we have a color printer and we use that to print our own materials, do we need to expense that? And I'm also wondering if somebody provides volunteer services, such as a friend, for example, designing a poster, does that need to be expensed at fair market value?
The way we've done this in the past, good question. Let us get back to you on friend designing poster. I think in the past, fair market value for like minimum effort graphic design was like $50. I don't know if that rate has gone up. I think that was from a few years ago. We will check on that for you. Jacob, if you don't mind actually submitting Onella and myself an email, and we will like put it in our notes to answer that, and then get back to everybody with that as well. I guess I'll answer it now because I've found some nice logic to use. Because we've provided the templates to you free of value, and they're very easy to use and they are free, maybe we'll say like poster design is free. It could be $0. If you want to pay somebody more than that for poster design, go for it. But because Canva exists and everybody has access to that, we'll say that it's null. Your other question was about printing. If you have your own printer, I'd say like if you can figure out the cost, so like how much was your like ream of paper that you might have used, and how much was what percentage of your ink did you use, and try to like calculate that out. It'll be part of your budget as long as you can like provide some sort of like proof or receipt. We could probably also reimburse you, but that's sort of harder to calculate. To be safe, maybe print from some like official establishment is maybe what I'll say. Okay, I'm going to turn towards my second screen here. So, here are all the penalties. Jacob, go ahead.
Sorry, if I may, I was more asking about using items we already have at our disposal. Like if we have, I don't know, a ream of tape or something just sitting in our drawer, I guess I'll ask, like, can we expense it, and do we need to expense it?
I'll go with, like, if you expense it, like, please provide a receipt of some sort. So if you don't have a receipt for it, and you wish to like replace it after you use it, and you like want to submit the replacement receipt, I'd recommend doing that. Any follow-up, or is that?
But I guess I'm also like, do I need to keep track of every resource that's at my personal disposal that I'm not buying during the campaign period? Kind of seems
Yeah.
tedious.
If it's like within reason, like I'd say like don't submit like the $3 bus fare that it would have taken you to get to campus to put posters up, because all students already have like universal bus access. But any like material you're using explicitly for the purpose of campaigning, I'd say like submit that. If you have a Bluetooth speaker and bring that to like put music, maybe because you're not exhausting the use of that item to campaign, that would be the situation where like you will not need to sort of show that that is a material used. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Quick question. If we have a question about any of said rules and we want to contact you, do we contact you or Nella? Just because I think in previous years it's been a confusion of who we go to.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Feel free to go to Anella first. I definitely like respect Anella's judgment as the first line. And if we need to confer, we will do that on our side.
Thank you.
And we'll like sort of be on each other's, we'll like collaborate to make sure that if one of us makes some sort of call, the other one is aware of it and the justification. Cool. Penalties. So there's a variety here. Go ahead, Maj.
Sorry, I may be out of reach here, but for campaigning period, I believe I did send an email for this, but I just want to get a little bit more clarification on the rules with handing out food or having food within your booth, or Is that allowed? Can that be part of our budget as well?
I'd say like if you're handing something out, but it is not like past an inappropriate level that you are bribing people to vote for you,
What if
and it is just to like gather attention, that is okay. I guess the other thing with food, make sure it's like non-perishable and just like a package of candy or something. Because then handing out food at a booth, there's another form you need to fill out, which is a process I don't want to lead anybody through for campaigning. But yeah, if you're handing like, let's say like boxes of Smarties out, make sure that that is part of your campaign expenses.
Okay. Would we be allowed to, let's say, like staple a poster to, let's say, like a bag of candy, and the poster would be candidate information?
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
That sounds fine.
Okay.
Anela, does that sound fine to you? I feel like that's
Yeah, that does.
like handing out a flyer, like it's just an expensive flyer with a treat on it, but
Yeah, as long as it's not like a bribe of like an exchange of this for a vote, then if it's just to like incur engagement with students to like, oh, like come get a piece of candy for 5 seconds to learn about my platform, that's fine. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Samir, you had your hand up for a second. Do you still have a question?
I was gonna say like that in previous years the rule was as long as it's not a bribe for a vote, you can hand it out as long as everyone can get one.
No back room, guys. I'll fly through this because it's in the procedures, but there's various levels of deduction penalty points for things that happen. So spending over the allotted budget, 2 points for $15 over the budget, rounded up. So be careful with budget spend. Failure to declare campaign expenditures. If you're ever in doubt, feel free to reach out to Onel and myself, and we will like keep in touch with you throughout the campaign period with different interpretations people have and what the appropriate and reasonable ruling on them would be. The one thing I'll stress here, and like this is like background in governance, is like rules should always be reasonable. So if you're like not taking a like bad faith read of a situation and say, how can I like sneak into making this sound like it's reasonable, as long as you're like not being too sneaky, you will very likely not break the rules. So be careful, like follow the very obvious advice of like put up posters, tell people what makes you the best candidate. Avoid like taking money from people, trying to mislead the ERC or its agents, and then public allegations that other candidates or committees have violated the rules until a decision's been made, public by the commission and its agents. So there's different pieces in here. We are very understanding of simple mistakes, but make sure you're doing what you're doing in good faith. We have our table of spending limits. So we have a single candidate for board of directors, so $150. And then because teams sort of benefit from economies of scale, the amount that a whole team would get 2 or above goes down pretty significantly. So a team of 2 people would only get $180, so $90 to split between the 2. And then 3 sort of goes up by another $20, and then 4 goes up by another $10, and it goes by $10 over and over. Officer candidates, this was not changed before we came out with 3 officers, but for sake of current model with 3 officers, we've decided just to do an incremental $25. So your third officer, 3-officer team would get $425, and I have communicated that to the team that has 3 officers already. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Question: if you're running for two separate positions, in my example, director and Senate faculty candidate, how does that work? Do we get a combined budget or not?
You get two budgets. As long as be careful differentiating
Policy
your
doesn't say
expenses.
that. Policy says you get the higher out of the two budgets.
Oh, thank you for
In
that
in election
change.
procedure, it's the higher out of the two budgets. You don't get
You get
both.
the higher out of the two budgets. Samir called me on it. Thank you. Jordan, did you have the same thing to say?
Yeah, I mean, let's take that not just on the single candidate scale, but on the party scale. Does a party get an allotment of their prorated amount for the director? Or yeah, I don't know. It's probably a big calculus, but how does that work?
Because I think this was designed without the perception that people would have 5 Senate candidate budgets. We are not going to interpret it that way. So sort of Senate faculty candidates will get 150 without the sort of multiplier that exists for the directors. And then the only thing that I'll say to that is they don't benefit from the same economies of scale because faculty candidates are responsible for campaigning to their own corner of campus, whereas we'd never have 2 Senate at-large folks. Go ahead, Samir.
Yeah, I will note from the interpretation last year, any money a team gets from Senate must be spent either that senator or team-wide posters. You can't spend it on another candidate. You can't spend it on a director candidate's poster. It can only go to team at large or that individual senators is restricted there from the ruling of the CRO last year.
And that is, I'd probably agree that that's the fairest ruling. Go ahead, Jordan.
Right. I was just going to challenge your comment on economies of scale. There definitely is a benefit of being a member of a party in a Senate election due to exposure of the party.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just, sorry, I just meant not the same economies of scale as director candidates who can have everybody vote for them and you can put sort of posters up anywhere. But I agree that there are some for sure. Go ahead, Kinsey.
Sorry, just to make sure I'm understanding, if it is a party and they have X senators as part of their party, then they'd get 150X, but each senator must, the 150 goes to each senator. Or is there, I guess I'm confused about kind of the scaling.
Samir's note about the rule and interpretation that was provided in the past was that senator candidate budget must be spent on those senators or the team as a whole.
Yes.
Cannot be redistributed to further support one of the officer candidates.
Okay.
So there is a soft partition in that it must be for the whole team or that senator candidate themselves. It can't be moved into the envelope that might support the director candidates on their own sort of director candidate posters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that background. Okay. Accrued demerit points. So like I said earlier, so after you accrue 3 demerit points, your reimbursement is reduced by 20%. So your budget is not reduced, it is just your reimbursement that you will get out of what your expenses are. Any questions here? All right, we have our contact info, so ERO and CRO. Elections at WUSA.ca goes to both of us in case you're not sure where to turn. And then our next slide is questions, which we've had throughout, but I'm happy to answer now. One thing maybe I'll say during this slide, everybody, I think, put your hand up if you didn't get the email about club endorsements. This is a new mechanism that ERC was willing to try out this year. So we have reached out to all the clubs, executives within the WUSA club system to ask them for their consent to be campaigned to directly by candidates. If they consent, we will provide that on a live updating shortlist that all of the candidates can have read access to. And you'll be able to sort of reach out to those clubs to ask for their sort of direct promotional support. Samir, go ahead.
Sorry, my mic was being weird. Kind of question on the email today and just kind of feasibility of needing all 10 people in a meeting within the next week rather than it just being the club executives who are elected by the members is kind of a question I had of like we only have a week and a half from here. If this was released a month ago, I think it would have made sense, but the election's a week and a half and we don't really have time, honestly. Like if a club like says they're open for things, we email back and forth, that takes a day or two, and then they need to get to a 10-person meeting. Like I'll push back on that feasibility and it coming out so late. Like I agree there should be standards, but that like the 10-person thing instead of being execs is something I would push back on.
Sure. The pushback to the pushback that I'll provide is nobody is able to campaign to them until Sunday anyway. So you'd benefit from they might benefit from knowing the campaign was coming, but they wouldn't sort of have access to any of the campaign materials to make a decision yet at any cost. So just to make it fair, we've had troubles in the past with an executive of a club going rogue and using a social media account. And we wanted to make sure that there is broader consensus than just the executives of that club. Go ahead, Jordan.
I was just going to second what Samir was saying. Maybe the principle that just because something's fair doesn't mean it's tractable.
Okay. Go ahead, Ram.
If like no one's allowed to campaign until Sunday anyway, how would the clubs have enough time to get together 10 members and have a vote on things?
Yeah. Clubs are allowed to have like virtual meetings. I'll remind everybody of that. Like it's pretty easy to like gather people together. Every club has at least 15 members. So not everybody needs to be available. But this was just to make sure that like there was that broader support and it wasn't just the club leaders driving the bus. Go ahead, Samir.
Just to fully understand this, I'm wondering what election policies comes from. Is this guidelines? Because by WUSA policy, you cannot amend any electoral rules 30 days out from electoral event, which we are well within. I'm wondering if it's guidelines or it's official rules here, and if so, rules where that's being derived from. And then, yeah, I'll push back saying the execs are elected by the members. And getting the coordination of setting up a meeting, going through, they should have a real chance to talk to multiple candidates and not just endorse the first person who emails them. And that whole process within a week and a half is, like, let's ignore the time, getting 10 people. Like, I think it should be the execs at least. Yeah, if we know the timeline for now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mohammed, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we all seem to be saying our opinions. So I'll jump in with my opinion. I think, given the fact this is a phased approach, to my understanding, last year this wasn't an option. This is an option this year. It makes sense to take it one step at a time. It's just my belief. I do understand the query about the rationality of the timeline. But I would say is also I think what's been brought up in the past is people are running unfairly, leveraging their relationship with executives to sort of push endorsements. And that could lead to like electoral disadvantage. So that's the only thing I'd push back to, and just leaving the decision up to the execs. The 10 people meeting is, I would say, is a substantial amount. I do understand that, but like we said, it's a phased approach. So perhaps it's like an improvement for something next year.
Thank you. I realize I didn't answer Samir's question. So we like looked long and hard. There wasn't a rule against club endorsements. There wasn't really a rule for them. So this is an interpretation of the procedures as they currently exist. We set this out as like mainly a best practices piece. And everybody raising their hand is going to be great on board if you get elected. What was I going to say? The vote of 10 came from like what are the minimum standards for like quorum at a meeting, because we wanted to make sure that it's not just executives deciding something. The thing I'll remind everybody, when it comes to something as sort of a system like club allotments in terms of like making sure you're satisfying the community that the club sort of aims to promote. Club allotments are not available for like only exec meetings. So clubs are expected to have a broader base of support for expenses through their allotments. And I think I use that same justification for this to make sure that like if there are clubs that have diverse opinions and 7 people outside of a top 3 exec want to make sure that their voice is heard, I wanted to make sure to give them that opportunity. Go ahead, Jacob.
So I have a couple questions. First, when you said just now that these are guidelines or best practices, does that mean that technically we can seek out endorsements from clubs via methods other than the one described? And if not, like how is that practically going to be enforced with the clubs? And I also kind of want to push back because the elected executives of clubs already, as they are, have the power to go on social media, for example, and endorse any other political position they please without necessarily consulting the membership of their club. So if they're given that trust and authority by the membership of their club now, why can't they be given it for the WUSA elections?
Sure, yeah. Thinking about this a lot, like clubs don't interact in a like governance way that much. So they're like social groups that have some base rules for like how their leadership is structured, and they make sure that's included in their constitutions. But there's a lot of like gray areas of clubs. So like one of the executives doesn't even need to necessarily be an undergrad. The majority of them do, but making sure that like we are trying to like get more people from the club involved in this decision. The other important piece, if you read the the directive, because there is a sort of promotional element to this, anything the club does to promote you is also sort of liable to come back to you if there are any significant rule breaks. So if the club is going around and there is proof of them sort of tearing down posters, and that tracks back to your candidacy, there is a risk that your candidacy could result with those penalty points. Go ahead, Jacob.
I guess I also want to express concern that because not every club necessarily has a written or well-defined procedure for meetings, doesn't this 10-person quorum rule couldn't it provide for the opportunity for people in the club to take advantage of it and endorse someone in spite of what the executives or even the majority of the club thinks? And I'm also wondering if there is going to be the quorum rule, can we be a little loose with the definition and allow it to be a Discord vote or something like that?
Yeah. Like online votes can count in this situation. Like we are just going to ask the clubs on the side, like, when did the vote take place? What was the like number of people involved? We've communicated the number, the minimum number of vote 10 to them as well. I'm okay with it there. Like I'll refine if anybody from the clubs ask me at that point. The 10 came from like the club's manual itself, so it is the like base guideline that all the clubs are expected to adhere to. So it could be different for clubs depending on their size, but 10 was our like minimum expectation. I will sort of, the big cloud of all of this is like clubs don't fit well into governance, and this is our like first attempt at like trying to make sure that the channels that students like to use the most for WUSA, in terms of like the communities that clubs help promote and build, are also available to like spread messages like this to make sure that we're promoting student leadership at the end of the day. What was the other point? I don't know. While I'm thinking, I'll go to Samir.
Thanks, Mike, and I appreciate answering all these tough questions in this short amount of time. Just kind of one question on a different part of the procedure. Again, just got today, so not much time to review it. On holding candidates accountable for execs for the club's making rules. Like one easy example is, let's say I'm a club that really secretly hates Samir. I really hate Samir. I pretend publicly I like him, so I get him to agree to endorsement. He agrees, he's endorsed, and now I go break 20 rules and he's held liable. And then also this interpretation, just that this guideline, like that's a major problem that could open up risk for candidates who thought that club really supported them, and now they're being held liable under this guideline.
Sorry, I agree. I do think there is a lot of risk inherent with this being opened. I think we're trying to do it very carefully. We're trying to like introduce some pieces of governance to those in clubs, because sometimes those involved in clubs don't necessarily see themselves as like broader student leaders. They see themselves as like leaders of a smaller community on campus. I promise that like, yes, the rules are a little clunky. They're all very well like steeped in consideration of like what are all the risks. So yes, that is a risk. The reason we didn't go with like a subset of executives can make the announcement was mainly because like one or two executives in the past sort of motivated the reason for this rule not existing, or sorry, this rule needing to exist in the past. So we wanted to make sure, okay, we need to hedge against two people sort of promoting their personal voice through a broader community that has access to like 3,000 students in it. So that was the reason why like we need some sort of vote. And I do know that it's like hard for clubs to be called together. I do think it's a very active time of the term over the course of the next week and a half. And that allows them to like make sure that they are meeting. And if it is a virtual vote, I'm acceptable to that too. And if anybody gets back to me from the club side, I can refine and get back to them as well. I have Maj, go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a question for candidates that are involved in clubs. Would the endorsement be okay? Like if we're an executive to a club but we're not a part of the voting system, is the involvement or is the endorsement still good or valid?
Excellent question. This is one of the things we thought over. Obviously, like the club is probably more predisposed to promote you. That is a reality we were pretty well aware of. My only caution for you, like if you can like abstain from the vote and like if it can take place in a time where you're not like direct influence in making people uncomfortable, and then make sure you don't reach out to the club to ask for this until the campaign period starts. And then make sure that club is on the consent list. So we will circulate the consent list midnight Sunday, the exact start of the campaign period, and we will update it as we get more clubs interested. Go ahead, Kinsey.
Just to ask about updates to the consent list, in case there is a club that is interested in endorsing a candidate, but they didn't previously, I guess, put themselves on the consent list, do they just need to email you? Can they move forward with the endorsement? Like, how does that look if they want to be added?
Good question. Yeah, they can email elections@wusa.ca, and we will sort of manually make sure that they're included.
Okay.
We have a little form that we'll send them from the club side to like make sure we have the proper contact info and the club name, and then that'll feed into the list that you all see. I appreciate everybody's candor and questions on this. I know it is like a new scary time. I think it'll be interesting to say the least. I'm excited to see what other like tools it promotes. One of our board of directors did some environmental scans, and like it's 50-50 in other similarly sized schools whether student associations allow their clubs systems to engage with this sort of like community promotion. So we are trying it out because there's been a couple of years of definite no's, and we're trying to see what yes looks like. So thank you for your patience. And go ahead, Jacob.
So what happens if you ask a club for an endorsement and they give you the endorsement, but they didn't conduct the vote themselves, but you really had no way of knowing that or controlling that?
Yes. So clubs that are in like on the list, we've given them the same document that I sent to everybody, but we will like make sure they know that like a vote should be taking place. In case they did not read that full document. I think like there will be an amount of patience with this. Like I hope everybody reads things that they get, but I have the full awareness that not everybody does. So we'll figure it out as we go along in some situations. So I guess to answer your question directly, if that case arises, let us know and we will try to sort of provide structure as much as we can to align it as closely to what we would like as possible. Okay. Any other questions? Can be clubs endorsements, doesn't need to be. Personal endorsements are welcome, like the directive said. Anybody so close to your campaign who is endorsing you could be considered, or like will likely be considered a non-arm's length party. So make sure that they understand the rules. There was once a time where you could not campaign during the voting period, and one of the candidates' friends direct messaged somebody and said, "Hey, you can vote today," and that was considered a rule break because that person, as their friend, was de facto member of their campaign team. So be careful with those pieces. This is not a rule that makes sense anymore because you are allowed to provide the link to anybody in your network once the voting starts, but just make sure that anybody sort of close knit to your campaign team is aware that there are sort of certain expectations of good behavior for elections. Does everybody have posters? Everybody's getting rid of their posters? Not a lot of excited people at 7:09 p.m. Anyway, thank you for your time. You will get the quiz in about an hour, probably close to 8 or 8:30. I just want to watch back and see what Easter eggs I left in the recording and make sure I have time to save the recording and circulate it. So once that's all done, thank you for your time. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Maj.
Sorry, would we have to do the quiz right away, or is there a lenient time?
I'd say like before the campaign starts. So yeah, we'll need your like confirmation of candidacy, which will be sort of one of the main questions of the quiz at that point. Your attendance here sort of is a base layer of your confirmation of candidacy. There's nobody, as far as I know, that's running in conflicting positions. Sometimes we've had somebody running for like 2 officer roles, and they need to tell us which they want to run for before the campaign starts. But this just allows us to make sure we have the fully fleshed out list. Go ahead, Jacob.
I have a couple of niche questions. Do you think it's all right if I stay behind? I don't want to waste everyone's time.
Sure, yeah. Anybody who's interested in staying to hear them can. Otherwise, you are all free to go. Thank you for your time. We'll keep the recording going in case people want to like
Good luck,
continue
everyone.
watching. But yeah, go ahead with your questions. Sorry, I haven't been checking the chat in case there's questions in the chat.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody. Good. Go ahead, Jacob.
So this one is regards to the fair market value. So I understand if you can get something for cheaper, like with you either get it for free, someone gifts it to you, or you get a discount, you have to consider that on the higher value, the fair market value in terms of your budget. But what if, by virtue of your personal circumstances, you get something for more expensive? For example, if I go to U Waterloo and I print something, that's more expensive than if I could afford a car to drive to a print shop and print it there. So can we go with the cheaper option? And that again is more expensive than if I could have bought my own color printer and just paid for the ink.
I'd say because before you make the purchase, all options are in front of you, and if you're choosing the more expensive option, you might be choosing a higher quality option too, and like that value might reflect in the ultimate item that you get out and like your actual campaign material. So you can get like glossy posters printed. They will be a little bit more expensive everywhere. They might be slightly more expensive at Staples than they are at WPrint. Maybe not actually, because WPrint is a little bit of a premium house themselves. But I think like at that point, we're sort of it comes down to like a value judgment. And I think that might sort of factor into fair market value too. I guess like buying your own printer, we could like figure out what the amortization of the life of the printer is. We'll have some fun with that if you want to go that route. The one example that I have is like I think we've had examples of like a GoDaddy subscription, and you need to like get it for a year to like get a certain you get a good discount if you get it for a year. If you're getting it for that year, but you're only using it for like minimum 1 month, we'll say like 1 month minimum for that sort of purchase. You can sort of subdivide the year subscription that you've purchased into 1/12, and like that is your fair market value for that sort of cheaper subscription that you got. As long as you are willing to like personally front the rest of it if you so fit, and if only 1/12 of it fits into your budget. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, I scanned the QR code for that picture sign up sheet. It's not working on my phone for some reason. Have you sent it in an email, or do we have another way to access that?
Great question. Let me copy and paste the link because I feel like that's a much easier thing to do. Copy. Does that work for people? I hope it does. I hate how Microsoft links work these days. Other questions? Go ahead, Jacob.
I know. I have a lot of questions. Another budget reimbursement thing. So you said, for example, if I use some of my own tape, I should show the cost of replacement to buy new tape, for example. Do I actually need to buy that tape, or can I just show what product I would have bought? It's kind of hard to do that in 24 hours.
No, that's fair. I feel like it comes down to like the philosophical, like, you used it, but you won't, like, if you're using your own tape but did not yourself make a transaction, it's much harder to reimburse, but it can be part of your budget, if that makes sense. Like, if you say, like, I used half a roll of this tape and one roll is $5, can I say that I used $2.50 of tape? I'd say sure, but everything that, like, we need to reimburse at the end of the day needs some sort of transaction and proof of purchase. So in that case, like, we can say that, like, your budget hit is $250 for that, but it's probably not a reimbursable $250 because you did not sort of, like, have a transaction from the start. Yeah. I used to work in accounting, and WUSA accounting is so strict on so many of these things, which is good because there's a lot of people who try fraud, and we're not about fraud in the student association because money is very protected. But they're very careful to make sure that there is, like, a chain of documents if there are purchases made. So yeah, I think the ruling on that would be, like, yes, part of your budget, and it, like, eats into your amount, but it is not a reimbursable piece. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a question about the current board of directors and the current officer positions.
Yes.
That if they are they allowed to endorse candidates, or I feel like with Remington, especially because they're vice president right now and they're going for board of directors for next year, how does that work? Like, is that allowed in a sense?
This is a great question. So there used to be a rule that anybody who, and, like, this is probably more around the officers who are in full-time roles, but anybody who is rerunning is not allowed to do their job during the campaign period. That was quite problematic because there was one rule where 3 out of 4 student execs reran, and it left the remaining student executive doing the role of 4 people. So that rule was changed slightly to be more like, you can continue in your role. You should avoid broad public statements or, like, abuse of powers of your office. So, like, Remington cannot have, like, a come by my VP office and ask me anything you want for like a campaign event. And when it comes to endorsements, ERC had this conversation and they sat on, like, endorsements from sitting board must have a disclosure that the endorsement is coming from them personally and not the views of the organization of which they are a board member for. So we've asked all of the current board members to think about that if they plan on making any endorsements. Last thing I'll say, you're allowed to do self-promotion to very, like, reasonable ends when you're endorsing somebody else and not necessarily rerunning yourself. That is where we'd ask people to, like, use a certain disclosure and be respectful of your powers of office to make sure that you're not unnecessarily escalating your message through those powers of office. Go ahead.
Is that also during voting period as well?
Yeah. I'd say, like, it's not. Sorry. That is the extended campaign period, and all the time you're allowed to do acts of campaigning.
Okay. Would just be overhearing it enough for a violation, though? Or, like, if we overheard certain things being said?
Oh. I don't know. I think I'd, like, need more context.
Like, for example,
and, like,
in
what you
SC, like, if I hear, I don't know, the current president speaking about voting for, I don't know, whoever is going for president in the upcoming election, just for example.
Yeah, I think, like, we'll make sure that all the like sitting board members who could unfairly influence, like, exercise caution. Same sort of thing with like powers of office, like sitting around the SLC all day and promoting a candidate. Would like, could any average candidate do that? Would be my question. Like, and are you wearing your WUSA name tag? Sort of thing. Like, there's like a line of what appropriate behavior would be, and like it's sort of along the lines of powers of office. Go ahead, Smear.
Just to confirm, officers and directors in a personal capacity can vote for and support anyone they wish to. It's just that if they're like making a public endorsement, they have to clarify that it's not a representative of the student association.
Yes, I'd say like if they're behaving in any way that any average student is able to behave, then we treat them as an average student. I think like if I can't even think of examples, but like we're not going to be having anybody doing like a random press conference during the campaign and voting period. And like if they are doing a press conference, like internal conversations will be had about the appropriateness of that sort of public statement. Because they're a very targeted person in some of this discourse. Remington, does that sound okay? I feel like this is sort of all in line with like regular respect and like fairness.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Good. I think like play fair is what I'll say at the end of the day, and we'll like take everything case by case and make sure there's no like broad issues with like abuse of powers if we're talking specifically about this chapter of sitting board and officers. Okay. I see no hands.
Thank you so much, Mike and Anella, for running this.
Jacob, go ahead.
Sorry.
I have a hard out at 7:30, I will say.
Okay.
So we
I
have 8
probably
more
missed
minutes
this
maximum.
earlier, but do you know where I can get this presentation and the PDF how to win an election? I couldn't find it online.
Will be emailed to you. The link of how to win an election is in this document, so I'll share this, and I'll share it once I have a half hour to an hour break to recharge my brain, and send a debrief email to everybody with the link to the recording.
Okay. And the last thing is I earlier sent you an email about a request with the clubs. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but I'm hoping you can check that out sometime between now and the campaign period. But it doesn't need to be right now. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you for this.
Thanks, everyone.
I will stop the recording now.
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Best
night.
wishes
Good luck,
on all your
everyone. Thanks so
campaigns.
much.
Bye.
Everyone.